Since March this year, we all had to change the way we live our lives. Social distancing, quarantine, and the development of COVID-19 became the main topics in every conversation. Our healthcare system has been under immense pressure to deal with the public health crisis. In the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, for example, nearly all general practitioners' appointments were cancelled and some were replaced by digital appointments. Additionally, COVID-19 cases diverted attention from the care of chronically ill patients who might have been neglected or undervalued. GPs had to innovate their ways of providing care and come up with alternatives for face-to-face consultations. Today's technology offers several solutions, such as email, telephone, and video consultations. Because of this pandemic, GPs were forced to use e-consultations instead of face-to-face consultations. Prior research has investigated these alternatives in terms of quality, effectiveness, and efficiency in the recent years, especially from the patient's perspective. From the GP's perspective, the literature is clear that remote consultations can increase flexibility and, in most cases, efficiency. But if we regard to effectiveness, the findings are not as evident. In this study, we focus on the experiences of general practitioners with the different channels of e-consultations. More specifically, we investigate how GPs perceive the effectiveness of their redesigned consultations during the COVID-19 pandemic and thereby aim to help fill this gap in literature. As mentioned, we focus on three types of e-consultation channels: telephone, email, and video calls. Systematic literature reviews on the use of telephone consultations conclude that it could be an appropriate alternative for face-to-face consultations in certain settings, such as management of diabetes. Also, other studies have found that chronic patients respond, on average, positively to this channel. Email consultation is initiated where it is considered a practical alternative to face-to-face or telephone consultations, or a helpful tool in patient engagement and medication adherence, since it is a very accessible way of communication between patient and doctor. Although the findings on email as an effective alternative are mixed, researchers are convinced that it has the potential to play a vital role in preventative healthcare and in facilitating self-management of chronic disorders. The use of video consultations is found to be the most prevalent in the management of chronic diseases. Studies investigating chronic kidney disease in diabetes patients found no significant differences in outcomes between video and face-to-face tracked patients.